I'm gonna stay on as long as my headphones keep rocking. So we're gonna see what happens here. So bear with me. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. A little sip of the juice. Let's see if anybody joins in. It's a late night on a Friday. I don't know. Maybe you got a life. Maybe you actually got stuff you got to do. You got friends and people who live close by, places to go. But it's late. Maybe motherfuckers is in bed and they've been drinking all night. What up, man? Peter, what's good? Just seeing who was coming through on the late night, man. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for the comment. Got a couple people joining in. I honestly didn't know how this is gonna go. He said, "Let's go, Enzo in the place to be." What up? Thank y'all for hitting the like button. I'm kind of in a mood, man. I just wanted to. I was in the mood for a certain cigar. I wanted something in particular, and I didn't have it. And what I had in its place really kind of made me feel a little some type of way, man. Hey, man, it's all good, Kendall. Thanks for hopping in, man. I know it's late with y'all. I know it's late for just about everybody, man. I know. I understand what I'm doing right now. I know it's not the best time, but my day was actually busy. I was actually doing like other shit. And then I got the kids here. My son got his best friend over, so I ain't had time to sit down, man. And I was like, I just want a cigar. It's beautiful outside. Like this is perfect weather. Like this is my favorite. It's still hoodie weather, but it's not like cold. Ain't no heavy breeze. The sun is out. And just a right amount of clouds in the sky. It's just like perfect. So I was like, man, I want to sit back and I want to have a cigar. I want a good cigar. So I know it's late for y'all, but I ain't know. I figured somebody was gonna be a night owl. I figured a couple of you guys are gonna be up and chilling, and just be willing to sit back and kick it with your boy for just a minute. So let's see how this rock and rolls, man. Let's see how it goes. Smoking our best. I don't know if you guys are having a late night smoke. It's Friday night. If you are, let me know. Put it in the comments. Let me know what's going down. Let me know what you have had today. I've been smoking a lot more cigars than usual. So I know I've probably been at like 5 or 6 this week already. What up, Ty? What's good, man? Peter, what up? Said he just got done with the. Peter said he just got done with the Laranja Reserve Azulejo Toro. How'd you like that, man? I like that cigar. Not a lot of people really, talk about that cigar. I like the Azulejo. I thought it was good. I did a review for it some time ago. I enjoyed it back then. I enjoyed it, since the last time I had it. But I don't think people talk about that cigar enough. Taking a late night drive. What's up? What up? If you know, you know. That sounds good, man. To be able to just take a little late night drive. It's in the afternoon now. One thing about this though that kind of helped out a little bit is the time change for you guys. Since it's been daylight savings time for y'all, it's kind of connected me a little bit more, so I can kind of get on a little bit later and kind of kick it with the West Coast folks. So that's kind of come in handy for me. That's been kind of cool. So great cigar. Okay, I'm glad you like the Azulejo, man. I'm really kind of rocking with what's my man name? I'm rocking with Espinosa, Eric Espinosa. I don't know. I was having a hard time bringing his name up. Just finished the Crown Heads Las Calaveras. Which year? Which year did you have, man? Once again, Las Calaveras is kind of the same thing. It's one of those cigars that's like people know it, and the hype is there for that cigar. But I just don't think. I think people kind of like wait to talk about it when the new year comes out or something like that. Then everybody they go back to their 2020s and they go back to their 2019s and all of that kind of stuff. And I just think it's a good cigar. If you got them, you should light them up, man. That's a really good cigar. And I even do it with myself, honestly. Like I go back to some of my Crown Head stuff sometimes, and I'm like, God damn, this is a good cigar. Why didn't I smoke this more often? You feel me? It makes sense. Do I need to turn around? Am I too much in shadow? Like the sun is facing like that way. But y'all let me know if I need to rearrange or whatever. If it don't matter, just say it don't matter. So as I was saying, before I kind of got into y'all comments and got into all of that, I was gonna light up. I was in the mood for um, a sin compromiso. That was like, oh man, I got a taste for a sin compromiso. Haven't had one in a minute. And I've been sending out cigars to people. I've been sending out Sin Compromisos. I've been sending out a few other things, especially like a lot of my Dunbarton stuff. I've been like sharing a lot of my Dunbarton stuff. And I go get a Sin Compromiso, and it was the number 7. And that is the only Vitola that I don't like out of the Sin Compromisos. And I was like, man. I was like, got my mouth full ready for a Sin Compromiso, and this is the only one I got, man. I'm not wasting my time on that joint. So I sent out all my good Sin Compromisos. The only thing that I had left was this Paladin de Saka. So that's what we're going to have to do. It's not like it's a bad thing. I just had my profile ready for one thing, got something else. Like I said, I never had a bad Crown Heads cigar. Everyone I've had, it's been great. I've had a few that didn't really live up to what I was expecting, but not many. It hasn't been very many. Four Kicks was always good. Las Calaveras is good. La Imperiosa is always good. Um, I'm just doing this off the top of my head, and I'm trying to go through like the mental Rolodex. Um, I've had some La Patisserie, like from the original run of that were kind of plugged, and I was having some construction issues with that. That really wasn't that fun. I didn't like dealing with that. But flavor-wise, that motherfucker is banging. Same thing with the Le Carême, always a banger, always a good cigar. Um, it was the last like real bad situation I had. I can't remember the name of this one, but it's the um, crown heads with the blue band. It kind of looks like the Azuleo, but it just has as azul or something like that. I can't remember what it was. And I was somewhere in California. I was in LA somewhere. I was there like I went back to the States. This is while I was in Japan. I went back into the States for a minute, and we had like a family trip down in LA. And I just kind of disappeared for a while. I had my cigars with me, so I just kind of disappeared, and I couldn't find it. Where I was in the hood in LA too, and I just dipped off to a corner and just lit up that Crown Heads, and that cigar did not go well. So it kind of sucked. So I was like in the middle of nowhere in LA, and I'm like I'm not getting the experience that I wanted. So it kind of took me out a little bit, but neither here nor there. Sorry, my daughter was trying to get my attention, trying to see what was going on. You see the new vertical streaming? You should jump on that because you go live a lot. Okay, so do you think that would be a better idea? Because I see that they offer that a lot, and I go live a lot intentionally, you know, because I'm not doing the reviews and whatnot anymore, right? So I kind of figured this was like me doing my show. So I kind of figured like it would look better on like your computer screens, or it would look better on your TV and all that. So that's why I did that. So I'm thinking, I know a lot of people when they're phones now, everything is a reel, everything is a short, everything is a TikTok, and the vertical screen is what most people are doing. But I didn't know if that would really be like lit like that if I was doing the live. I thought this would be better for people's laptops or for their TVs or however they're streaming the live. So you guys let me know what would be the best way. So if you want me to switch to the vertical and enough people were like, yeah, that's the best way to do it, that's what I would do. Because I thought about that too. I just thought this was the smarter way to do it. But don't come to me for intelligence. I'll just come to me if you just want to hang out and smoke a really good cigar. Like that's something different. You know what I mean? I'm not acting like I should be in Silicon Valley somewhere, something like that. And you said, what is that? What are we talking about, Ty? Pan is up in this place. Say, hey, brother, how are you? Can't stay but enjoy it, man. Always glad that you pop in at least to say what up, man. So I appreciate it. Everything's good, man. Just chilling. Family's in the crib. Kids down there just on their iPads and doing all that kind of stuff. I was in the mood for a Sin Compromiso, and I ended up with a Paladin de Saka. So I just wanted to chop it up while I had a good cigar. That's really it. I ain't even got a lot on the plate today, man. I'm just kicking it. Seems like more people are jumping on faster to the vertical. Huh. Okay. Let's do a test out then. Let's kind of test and see what happens. I don't know, like, why do y'all, that's a good topic for right now, just to kind of keep us talking, because I don't really. This nigga smoking beautifully, by the way. Good gracious, beautiful, burning perfectly, smoking perfectly, great body. Anyway, but the thing is like, that's kind of like, I don't know why that would make it better. Like, why would more people pop on just because it's vertical? You know, it does. Maybe that would mess up, things of like, if you were watching on your phone, does, like, can you not hold your phone the right way? You know what I'm saying? But I would just figure like having, the blocks on each side. If you're watching from your computer, or if you got me like, simulcast to your TV, I figured that would have thrown people off, and I didn't know if that would be a vibe. But maybe like if you were riding in your car, if it's in his car right now, maybe that joint would help. So landscape gives better videos, quality across different screens, types, and sizes. Portrait mode will have black bars around, and that's what I was thinking. That's the way I was looking at it. And this is like the only show that is happening on this channel right now. So I was like, man, maybe if I'm in this landscape mode, maybe that would be the best way. But the other side that I thought about is just the culture is different. And just the way that people view media is different in general now. Anyway, everything is based on shorts, based on reels, based on TikToks, and it's the baby of Divine. And a lot of people are doing everything on their phone. Most of the stuff that I send out to my wife is some kind of meme or short or reel or something like that. 60 seconds, 30 seconds. So I don't know, man. I really put some thought into that. So then when he just brings that up to me, it's just like, now I'm really gonna be like going back and forth. So maybe what I'll do is I'll do a test run. Maybe the next time around I do a live, I'll switch it. Cause here's the other thing. Before I'm finish that point, here's the other thing. When you're in doing a YouTube live, you actually have to go into your settings to change it to landscape mode. If you don't change it to horizontal, then you're gonna be in the vertical and portrait mode automatically. So maybe that's like YouTube's way of telling me, like, hey man, it might be better to do it this way. You know what I'm saying? And I have to make a physical effort to change it that way. So maybe I'll do a test run. That's what I was saying. Maybe I'll do a test run. I usually get a decent amount of people to hop on at the middle of the night, like I'm doing for y'all, and it's kind of cool, man, that y'all come out and actually like really sit down and chop it up with me for a good amount of time while I smoke a cigar, because I know, like, because of this time difference, man, I hop on at weird time frames, and to have 9 likes, have 11 people, to have people actually commenting, and it's midnight on the West Coast. Come on, man. Like, I gotta just give thanks that many people are even willing to get a notification like, yo, I'm gonna go chill and kick it with EKB right now. I can't even be mad at that at all. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Maybe if I go, with the portrait vertical mode, 3 a.m. in Miami, you kicking it in Miami? Come on, man. See, that's love. That's love. That's love. That's real dope. All right, so check it. Since we're talking about Miami, the only thing I know about Miami, I know in the 90s I used to rock a lot of Miami Hurricanes. I know the Miami Heat. I know Ron was getting his PEDs in Miami. I know Liberty City. I know there's a lot of Cubans. And I know people go out there to the beaches and whatnot, like for sporting events and all that kind of stuff. That's all I know about Miami. So you got to fill me in on like the real Miami culture. My wife has been out there. I've never been to Miami. I've been to Orlando. I've been to Tampa. I've been to Pensacola, and I think that's it. I've been to little places like Clearwater, Florida, and little places like that. It said it's cigar heaven. I mean, with the amount of Cubans that's out there, it better be cigar heaven. So that makes sense. Cigar heaven sound kind of dope though. What about the food though? All right, so this is my thing. My favorite cities are the cities that are walkable So like at night, when when you walking at night, you're not like worried about getting a gun to your head. Dang, yo, I gotta switch this around. Give me a sec, yo, cause my phone is heating up. Put my phone in the shadow a little bit. I hate this phone, man, cause like this Pixel phone always like overheats. God dang, I can feel that joint getting hot. Let me get creative. I gotta do something to reflect some of this heat. Give me a sec, y'all. That's the stuff you gotta do when you live, man. You gotta get creative. So I'm sorry about that. Sun is in my eyes. Let's do it like that. Audio's down. All right. Okay, so I was worried about my phone cutting out. So let me know if y'all can hear me. Give me the thumbs up. Give me a like. Let me know if I'm good to go. And then we're gonna get in the mix. It says, all right, what we got? What up, Rob Mack up in the place to be, man? What up for showing me love, man? Sorry I had to, had that weird moment, man. I had to make sure that my phone didn't shut off on y'all. Had to take the battery charger out for a second. Said it's difficult. It's default is portrait mode because that's the normal way people hold their phones. If the shot isn't zoomed in, you're gonna have a lot of empty space above your head. Yeah, but I feel I'm kind of close anyway. But you got a good point right there. I'm sorry I'm reading that real slowly, man. I'm trying to see, man. I got the sun in my eyes. Let's see, above your head instead of on the sides. Okay, yeah, so I got everything on that one. My father's, Perdomo, and many others have headquarters here. Is JC Newman down there too? I can't remember what JC Newman is, but I know it's somewhere way down south. A Street got a lot of cigar shops. And see, okay, so that's good to know. That's the type of stuff that I want to hear, man, because I don't know a lot about Miami at all. So I know if it ever comes up, A Street is the way that I'm supposed to go. That's the spot that I'm supposed to hit. So I can really get to the dope cigar lounges, actually walk around. Because when I'm going, I'm always trying to find, wherever I go, I'm trying to find the best burger. I'm trying to find the best walkable area, and I'm trying to find the best cigar lounges. JC Newman is Tampa, I believe. Okay. So we got Tampa and we got Tampa Suites down there. Okay. Looking out, fellas. So besides Cuban sandwiches, can I get a good muffaletta down there? Like, what's the food spot? What's the burger spots looking like in Miami? I really like. I'm completely oblivious to Miami, and I'm not trying to say that to sound funny or just talk randomly, but I'm genuinely curious. Because at some point in time, it's gonna be another trip or something that's gonna pop up, and somebody like, "Yo, you trying to go to Miami?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" I just want to know what to do once I get down there. Look at this cigar, man. This thing is smoking like really well. I've been banging it around and all that kind of stuff, trying to make sure my phone doesn't overheat, and we still going. Still got the ash on it. Still got a wonderful body to it. I love this Vitola too. It's really nice. But I was really hoping to get a standard sin compromiso, man. That was my goal. That's what I really wanted. Said the food is on deck, cigars and food on point. Well, you talking my language, man. And I would imagine that it's a lot of diversity there. I would imagine you could probably get some really good uh, Cuban food, of course. Probably get some really good Dominican food. Pretty sure some good West Indian food down there. Probably could get my roti, something like that, some oxtail, right? Probably some really good Puerto Rican food. Would imagine I can get some really good mofongo, something like that. So that sounds like a vibe, man. That's what I'm talking. Like I love when it's like the international food is like really popping. So you got more options than than just going like, okay, I got my burger, I got the best burger in town. Now I really want some. I need something with some lime in it. I need something with some spice. I need some good fats. That type of thing. Peruvian. So I can go down there and get a banging lomo saltado, right? So that you talking that talk. Colombian food, okay. Miami sound like it's the place to be. And to be honest with y'all, lomo might be my favorite dish in the world. Like all the stuff that I've had, all the different stuff I tried in culinary school, being in Japan, being in Cali, being in New York. You make a lomo, you put the egg on it just right. I could just keep going, man. That's really probably might be my all time favorite dish ever. It's simple but it's banging. You feel me? Anyway, so hold up, man. What you doing up at three? Haitian food. I ain't even thinking about Haitian. You right? Yo, I'm tripping. Stop. I say like, yo, I'm bugging. I'm bugging. That should be the first thing that I think about. It's either should be like you either gonna think about Cuban food, Colombian, or Haitian. That's like what I'm tripping. I'm tripping. But I do mess up because I kind of lump the Haitians in with the West Indians, so yeah, that's my bad. That's me messing up. So players fuck up. Players fuck up. It's kind of one of those things, man, because you hate to boil stuff down and stuff like this, but like the only real view that I have of it is my wife sending me pictures back when she was down there. She went down there on a girls' trip, and that's one of those things like, yo, y'all go out there, get your drinks in, have fun, do whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I never really had the guy strip going down there. We was always trying to go to South Carolina, go to Freaknik and all that kind of stuff like that. I never got to Miami. And then playing, the Liberty City joint. That was like that was my exposure to it. And it's kind of fun when you're in that, but I don't want no like. It's the same thing with like when people play Yakuza, or something like that on the PlayStation. Like you see all the different places that I've been to in Japan, but that's not what Japan is really like. When you walking around in Shibuya, it's not really like that. When you walking around Yokosuka on Blue Street, it's not really like that. I mean, it's the same landmarks, but that's not what the city really feels like. What's up, Wayne? Said my brother-in-law, their best friend sells and makes cigars in Miami. I call him the cigar plug. That's what's up. What type of cigars he making down there, man? What you know about his cigar? Like, what is he? Does he have a brand? Because this is the place to plug the brand. If you're gonna plug the brand, you know what I'm saying? You should bring it up now, because I'm curious. Are they doing straight Dominican? Do you know? Is it undisclosed? Are they doing what kind of wrapper leaves they using? What's up? Said 14 viewers, 14 likes. We out here. Hey man, the real thing, man, is I I gotta give thanks for this channel, man. I really gotta give thanks because it's been a lot of people that are popping up that have been watching the older videos. A lot of people have been watching like they're getting a particular cigar and they go back and they might check a review that I had. Matter of fact, somebody was just chiming in on that Azulejo. Somebody chimed in on that. Somebody was chiming in on the M81 video that I did. And it's kind of cool to see that people are still kind of going back and actually looking at the old videos. And I got to go back and I got to do it myself sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I go back and just kind of see what vibe I was in when I made the video, or when people are commenting. I'm trying to see what, like, when they're trying to, like, they're saying, oh, you felt this way, or I like the way you did whatever whatever in the video and whatnot. And I'm like, damn, man, I don't even remember like exactly what I did on this video, especially with all the time and effort I put into it. I go back and I rewatch it, and I rewatch just from an artistic standpoint. Like, I want to see what I was doing on camera at the time. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to see what my articulation was like how was I presenting it, how was I describing the cigars, saying stuff like and trying to see if I was cutting out some of the filler words that I use when I'm live and stuff like that. I was trying to make sure I was doing the channel right. So it's mad cool to see how many people that are still watching the channel, going back and watching some of the old videos and stuff like that, and they're commenting on it. And then they're just like, "Yo, keep going, keep doing the reviews, keep doing it." And I gotta send back a comment like, "Yo, I'm not reviewing anymore." But come through and check the live. If you see me pop up on the live, come through, hang out. I still talk about cigars. It's just a kickback. And then so many other people have been going into the lives, man. I mean, if I do a live, it's anywhere from 2 hours sometimes to 3 hours sometimes. I've done a 4 and a 5 hour live. And have the amount of people that actually stick with me for that amount of time and actually show love, I can't do nothing but give thanks, man. I was telling somebody the other day, man, it's just like the support that I have from my community is the dopest. And you guys have been super rad. I'm sitting here chopping it up with y'all about Miami. And you know what I'm saying? And y'all hang with me and give me feedback, give me information. And people come through sometimes and I can't watch the game. I'm up here chopping it up with y'all. Y'all give me feedback on the games and all that kind of stuff. It's a good hearth, man. It's a good hangout spot. And I feel proud of that. I feel real happy about that shit, man. God damn. I ain't asked to drop like that. That shit was hot in the motherfucker. God damn. But what what else is real cool, man? I burnt myself. I totally forgot what I was gonna say. God. Anyway. I've been game planning a lot, man. So I like trying to figure out like the next move and what I want to do. You guys have really been helping me out. There is a Fruit Loop flavor in this thing that is outstanding. Not Fruit Loops, Fruit Roll Up. Y'all remember Roll Ups? Remember when you would get the fruit roll up and you would take it and you would have like the blueberry joint or whatever, and then when you would peel it off the plastic, and that smell you would get when you would peel it off the plastic, like you had a real fruit roll up. That I'm getting that shit. I never had that shit before. Anyway, any chance on a new humidor tour at some point? That's a good question. That's a good question. Huh. I'm pondering about that, and here's why. Because I don't feel like I've done like a whole lot with the humidor. Like I was saying to you before, Peter, I got your package that got to go out next week. I got one for my man Mathis. I got to send one out to him next week. I'm sending another package out to Cigar Hound Dog, and it's a couple more people that's on the list that I got to get taken care of next week, right? And I've been smoking a lot more cigars than I normally. Normally, I smoke like 3 cigars a week. I just said earlier that I probably had probably close to 6, this week. And I'm saying that to say that like I'm clearing out a lot of the humidors. So I still got the Tupperdoors, and it's still a lot of the same cigars that were there before. That that really didn't fit my me building up my humidor the right way. But I'll do it again. I'll do it again. But I kind of want to do it because it's another thing that I want to talk about. I need to get a new humidor, and not like one of the new airs or whatever, that kind of thing. I got that whole thing kind of set up. It might be worth it because I might be able to get enough dialogue out of it to make it worth it to do that. So I may do that. I may do that. I got some things I want to talk about because I got an issue with one of my humidors that I want to kind of go over. And then Matt is sending me a huge bomb from him and from Sanj Patel. So maybe when y'all tell me, now that I'm talking to y'all, since you guys are my, what do you call that? You guys are my sounding board. You guys are like, my press conference and, the way that I can kind of decipher shit. You my boardroom. So when I get this bomb, maybe I'll do it as an unboxing and a humidor tour at the same time because I like to organize my cigars. That might be kind of fun to do it that way. And You guys tell me if that's worth it. If you want me to get that box from Sanj, get that box from Matt, and then just kind of go through while I'm separating those cigars. I kind of put them where they're supposed to be. When I'm organizing, I'll just go through my humidor, and you guys can see what's cracking. I got the office kind of set up now a little bit more, so it's a little bit more presentable in the room. It's not perfect, and I might do a little bit of a house tour. So I might do a humidor and a house tour. So y'all tell me if that is really worthwhile. So I just I might make it fun. I might make it fun. I got some new sneakers that are coming in. I'm gonna get those, and probably in the next couple of days, I'm probably gonna get the box from Matt and Sanj. So if y'all want it, I'll talk sneakers. I do the humidor tour. I do the unboxing, and I'll do a little brief house tour. What y'all think? Is that worth it? Hmm. This is what I do. This is when I'm in my office. This is how I think through ideas. So y'all can let me know how that works. He can get a lot of stuff, but his roll cigars are not labeled, so I don't think he's branding them. He just rolls a bunch of different flavors. I would love to plug you with these guys. Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Here's my thing, man. Like I really like working with new people. I really like to really get a feel for how people are doing things and creating, especially like just the fact that they're rolling their own cigars, they're creating new flavor profiles, and especially if it's something that I would smoke and really love, and it's just something like, and I'm meeting new people, and I can really enjoy what they're doing, and getting something from Miami. That sounds like a vibe to me, man. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. That's what's up. I like that kind of thing, man. It's been cool. Like I've been out and about, and like I just started like doing like some part time work while I'm here in Japan, just because I didn't expect to really be working much while I'm in on this side. I really expected to be just kind of studying, getting back in school, and kind of working on my own, projects that I got here that I've been telling you guys about. But the opportunity came up since I'm learning Japanese to teach these Japanese kids English too, and I just found this really dope program where you got like middle school students, you got high school students, and we're helping them to actually speak English and actually make friends. So the word for friend in Japanese is tomodachi. So I'm working for this program called Tomodachi. Yeah, DM me to Instagram. That's a good move. You know, shouts out Tomodachi. Way to look out, man. So that's real cool. So like that whole thing of just being able to, I was vibing with these kids, man. I'm having a good time, seeing how they speak English, and it teaches me a lot about just like the general overall personality of Japanese people, especially at a young age. And it's kind of cool just to get a chance to kind of vibe with them, just meeting and connecting with new people. A lot of new people have been saying they were coming out to Japan. I got to chill with my man Stavro, and I feel like I'm making a good relationship with him too. It's just I like the branching out part, and having cigars being that catalyst and being that bridge to help people connect with each other is all love for me, man. So yeah, I like the sound of that. So let's do it like this. Let's get interactive. What was the last thing that y'all watched? What was the last TV show? What was the last movie? Or what was the last album that y'all watched? I'm trying to vibe off of y'all right now, man. Cause last night, man, I had a good time because I was sitting with the kid, me and my son. My daughter was there for a brief moment too. Actually, like it started with the whole fam. We was watching, what is that show? Wonka. Yeah, we was watching the movie Wonka, and then my son actually got into it. So I was surprised he got into Wonka. He wanted to watch, the real joint. He wanted to watch, the Gene Wilder shit, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So I sat there and I kicked it with him till early in the morning, and me and him just watched that, and then we watched, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory until we went to sleep. That was garbage, but that's neither here nor there. But it was just kind of cool just to have it sit back and y'all know that the next show that I'm working on is like going back and watching some nostalgia shit. So it was kind of cool to really go back and watch Gene Wilder get busy. That motherfucker can act his ass off, man. Like that's a really good movie. I hate musicals. I hate musicals. I was getting down watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, yo. That was some good shit. My man said Shogun. I knew somebody was gonna bring up Shogun. I knew that was gonna be the first thing. My brother just hit me up the other day. Was like, yo, you gotta watch Shogun. The problem is I don't have Hulu. So like if I'm not trying to go on Cody and spend like 15 minutes trying to get Cody to work right so I can actually watch that shit, I gotta finish The Bear, which is my favorite show on TV right now, and I gotta start and watch Shogun. I know I gotta watch those. I'm hearing those are the two best shows on TV right now, and guess what? They on fucking Hulu. So yeah, I knew that was coming up. Enzo said he's rewatching Curb right now. I look, I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm, and that like Curb Your Enthusiasm and The Office are like hard for me to watch right now. For whatever reason, I don't like secondhand embarrassment. For whatever reason, I don't like it, and you get so much of that when you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's so cringe, but it's the absolutely most brilliant show when it comes to just doing like improv. Just off the top of your head, you're in a predicament and you're just making something happen on screen and making it feel like real life. Larry David is an absolute genius. He's a like, and I don't throw that word out. I don't throw genius out there. Larry David's a genius, and I love that show. But I just like I have a real hard time watching comedy right now, and especially when it has like that secondhand embarrassment to it. So I feel you on that. Wait, what season you on right now, Enzo? Enzo also said the last movie I watched was Demon Slayer Hashira Training. I got to get into that, man, because look, man, like all these kids and everybody that I'm hanging out with at these Japanese schools and whatnot, everybody's in the anime. And for me, like my son loves Demon Slayer. I haven't watched that. I need to check that out. And the last thing that I tried to get into that I really liked was Attack on Titan. So the kids are saying the Japanese names of these shows, and I'm just lost. They frying me up when they talking about that. And I feel like I'm missing a connection with them because I don't connect with Japanese pop music, and I don't really connect with anime because I'm old school. I like Fist of the North Star. I like Akira. I like Ninja Scroll. You know what I'm saying? Like Princess Mononoke. That was like the last real anime joint that I got into. And even what's my man name that's real popular right now that he just recently released a banging anime joint. I can't think of his name. I can't think of his name. Y'all gonna have to help me out. Y'all anime cats. I know y'all know who I'm talking about. I think he just won a. I think he just won a. Not a. I think he just won an Oscar. Y'all help me out with that. My man Rob Mack said he just watched American Fiction with Jeffrey. Highly recommended. I'm so glad you brought that one up because I've been on the fence about whether I want to watch that movie or not. Because a friend of mine, we were on Facebook talking about it, and he was talking about how like how the black bourgeoisie is really kind of in this place where they're kind of like in a pick me mode right now, and they're talking about like how they're in a good space, but they're also talking about the struggles they have being wealthy black people in America and all this kind of stuff, and still having to deal with the racism and still having to deal with the stereotypes and discrimination and all that kind of stuff. And there's a part to that story that I want to connect to and that I want to vibe with, but it's also a part of that I feel like it's a little bit passe in a way. And I hate that this is finally getting green lit in Hollywood right now. And I'm glad the story is being told, but I guess in a progressive sense, I'm like, have I moved beyond this? You know what I mean? We got some real pressing issues, within the community of black community and the American community at large right now. And I'm like, do I really want to get in this? So like, I don't know. I guess for me, like I really get into my feelings when I'm watching movies like that. and the writer in me starts to get into my own feelings, and I've been trying to keep a lot of that like stuff just personally in my own headspace without. I really feel like the dialogue that we have on a serious level, just on the internet right now, when it comes to anything that's serious, that comes to the way Native American people are treated, when it comes to representation in Hollywood, when it comes to everyday politics on how you live your life as a woman in America or a black person in America, and just dealing with discrimination. I just had a whole live where I was talking about the difference between liberals and independents and conservatives. I hate that dialogue right now. I think when everybody's talking about comedians right now and people are so sensitive, and the whole thing about virtue signaling coming up so much right now, and gaslighting, the way people are just trying to use these psychological terms without really understanding what cognitive dissonance is, and they just throwing out buzzwords, and people are getting angry instead of having a real discourse. It's real hard for me to sit in a space where it's going to get me to the point where I actually want to voice my opinion and I want to talk about something. I get real cautious about that right now because I don't like the way we dialogue right now. I especially between the generational gap, and especially between the social economic gap right now, and the gender divide. Like I hate, like I feel like we are divided in a way that we can't really have a good conversation. Like everybody's in attack mode or everybody's in victim mode, and it's not that mode in the middle where people can have a discourse. Does that make sense? Am I going like too far down the deep end? Are y'all getting too deep into my head canon right now? So, but I know I'm gonna end up watching that movie, man. And Jeffrey Wright is brilliant. He's a brilliant actor. He's one of my favorites. Like every time he get on screen, he can be a different person. So he's a brilliant actor. So I want to support him in that sense too. So yeah, I feel you on that. That was a good choice for a movie though. Let's see. My man said Dune is surprisingly awesome movie. I got opinions on Dune too. I think I spoke briefly about my opinions on Dune too, with the New Wave cats when we were on Infamous Smoke Show. Shouts out to Infamous Smoke Show. Y'all go to subscribe if y'all haven't subscribed to Infamous Smoke Show yet. Said we got too real for YouTube, right? That's what I should start calling the show now. Too real for YouTube. Forget the vintage cigar. This is too real for YouTube. I'm not happy right now, man, because it's this phone. One, I got to get rid of this phone. I have a Pixel, and this phone overheats anyway. And it's not that hot outside. I think it's just the fact that it was direct sunlight on this joint. So I'm trying to put myself in a position where my phone won't overheat. I try to cool it down, but anyway, um, that's kind of frustrating, man. Like, cause we was vibing, we was rolling for a second there, man. So maybe that was my signal though. Like I need to chill out and not really show a lot of my real thoughts, man. Because we'll get that algorithm coming to shut me down. We got Skynet right now. Everything is algorithms and Zuckerberg. Y'all saw what's my man Elon Musk. Y'all saw he got shut down the other day. He got in his feelings just from an interview. That was real funny. But I was gonna get into Doom, man. So I wanted to get a look, see if people would join back in since we resuming where we were. Luckily, I didn't lose my whole stream. So sorry for the people who are gonna be watching this on the replay. My phone overheated and it cut me off. So hopefully that does not happen again. We're gonna see. Hopefully I put my phone in a position where I don't have to worry about that. Looks like we got everybody joined back in. For y'all that were throwing out comments before, we were talking about different movies and everything that you watch. Put your last comment back in there, man, so I can kind of see what we were talking about. The last thing that I stopped on, since we got 10 people in here that fast, shouts out to y'all for coming back, joining your boy. We were talking about Doom, and I was saying, first of all, to go subscribe. Hopefully, when my signal cut out, that y'all went and subscribed to the Infamous Smoke Show. Um, Shouts out if you took the time to do that. But in the meantime, I was talking about Doom. Thank you to everybody. I would say third time is the charm. I'm also gonna fan my phone. Hopefully, I'm gonna keep it cool. That's real crazy. All right, we got people up in here so far. Man, it's late at night too. I probably lost all the people I had in here. We had a good run going too. That's real jacked up. But we're gonna do what we can. Keep this up and rolling. All right. So the last thing that I was talking about. Let me know if my audio is there. Y'all give me the thumbs up. Let me know y'all in here. I see 5 people, but sometimes this joint can be a little bit delayed. What did he say? When you live, right? Sal is up in the place to be. Daniel still here says the volume is still cracking, so we still rolling. All right. So the last thing that we was talking about, I was gonna get into my opinions on Doom. Doom 2, rather. Got 9 people. My man, if you know, you know, said the thumbs up, so we rocking. So the thing about Doom, man, this is probably one of the most visually stunning movies I've ever seen. It's like just the cinematography. Peter said thumbs up. The cinematography for that movie was absolutely outstanding. Just the the way that they could use space. They were using the perfect color palette for a desert movie that was mainly in the desert. The way they would use the different grays and all that kind of stuff when they were like actually on their home planet. Can't remember the name of the planet. I'm not that good, sorry, but I did have some major issues with this movie. Before I got into the issues, the thing that I really enjoyed was the acting. I thought Zendaya was outstanding, and just the amount of emotion that she was able to show with her face, and the connection that she had with Chalamet's character in there, Mahadi or whatever. The dude went by like 6 different names. I'm not gonna spoil anything for y'all because I don't know who has seen this movie, who hasn't seen the movie. I don't want to do that. I ain't gonna get into it to where I spoil anything for y'all. But the way that they did some of the relationships in there, and they were trying to connect the people and trying to build characters in there, the acting was where it should be. But I just felt like, man, they rushed certain parts, and certain parts with the cinematography when they were filming it, they would spend way too much time showing people walking in their guard or walking across the sand or planes landing and these weird helicopters and all this kind of stuff and showing multiple sunsets and all. They could have cut that movie down by about an hour and a half just from cutting out some of the superfluous imagery that they were putting in there. Yes, the movie is gorgeous. It's stunning. But god damn, especially like once you get into the middle of the movie, it's just like you want to go to sleep because it slows down so much and then it speeds up and they rush some of the dialogue and then it slows down again. And then it ratchets it was too much of a pacing roller coaster for me. And I felt like some of the storyline in there was kind of chopped up and you were like, yo, did they fast forward some of this? And I'm like, nah, they couldn't have fast forward anything because I'm sitting in a movie theater. So, but it was still worth the watch. I wasn't mad that I spent almost 3 hours in there watching the movie. My son stayed awake for the whole movie. I stayed awake. So I guess that's a glowing review for that. I see you, Clay. Good morning. How you doing out there? Shouts out to the 40014. What you been smoking on lately, lady? What I know you probably not. I know you're probably not smoking at this hour, but if you are, what do you have in hand? Let me know what have you been smoking on lately? What cigars have kind of tickled the fancy a little bit? What you have you found in your journey? Any new cigars? Anything that I should know about? Anything that I need to add to the humidor? Let me know. And we haven't cut out yet, y'all. So throw whatever y'all were watching, whatever y'all smoking on. Let's talk about that. I hate that my camera going out kind of messed up my flow. Can't wait for Beetlejuice 2. Once again, I'm so glad you brought that up, man. I was just talking to somebody about that. It's funny, man. It's like y'all bringing up everything that's kind of been in my conversations and coming across my screen lately. I'm actually kind of hyped for Beetlejuice 2. I actually can't wait to do my review on the original Beetlejuice because for a young EKB, that was one of my favorite movies, man. That like I enjoyed that, and I like the fact that I was still in the era of movies where you could actually still have a creative theme and you could do something that was going to be a little bit zany and be a little bit off the beaten path as far as like what people are looking for in movies, but it could still be greenlit and you could still get a great story out of it. Everything about that movie was innovative, from the practical effects to the gothic story that they told. The acting was superb, and Michael Keaton has become absolutely one of my favorites. From just the little part that he had in the Flash was brilliant. To Birdman was brilliant, and he is one of my favorite villains in the MCU when he played the Vulture. Like the way he played that character was, mwah, it was chef's kiss. It was beautiful, and to see him to still have the chops at his age to get back in that Beetlejuice costume, I'm here for it. I hope they bring Winona Ryder back. I hate that her career got derailed the way that it got derailed, but I really want to see them two together. And I think they're gonna bring back old girl that was playing Wednesday. I can't remember what her name is right now. I can see her face clear as day, but I can't think of what her name is. But she would fit perfectly in that demographic, and just with her acting chops, I think it'll be great. So it really scares me when they do reboots, and it scares me when they try to bring back these nostalgia bait movies. But I'm putting all that to to the side because I love Michael Keaton that much. I love Michael Keaton, so I'm here for that. Clay said I'm stuck on Dapper Cigar and Wildfire Cigar right now. Love the entire lineup. Dapper is really, 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 really underrated, and I didn't realize that when I was living in Fresno that I was right down the street from their headquarters in Fresno, California. Fresno, California. Um, what's the what's the Rose one? I can't think of the name of it right now. It has the black band. Has the skull fingers holding up the rose. That is fantastic. The Semper Fi is really fantastic. And I've been sending those cigars out to a lot of people. A lot of the dappers that I've had. They got one that I think is called a Cubo. I think that's, if I'm doing it off the top of my head, that was really good. I've been sending those out to a lot of people, just trying to get people on to Dapper because I rock with Dapper too. So good choices right there, especially with Wildfire. I haven't smoked Wildfire yet, but we had the conversation with my man who owns Wildfire, and he was a good conversation. He was on the show, and I like his approach to cigars. I like the way he thinks about doing a lineup. Christina Ricci is dope too, but that's not who I was talking about. But is she gonna be in it? If she's gonna be in it, she would fit too. Daniel said Michael Keaton was genius, and the other guys was great as well. Hell yeah, and Keaton hasn't slipped, and that's the thing. Like I love the fact that he can still, you know, have so much gravitas with his facial expressions and just the way he uses his tone when he's acting. Like he's just such a brilliant actor to me, man. I love that dude. Dapper is super solid. La Madrina, heck yeah, that was it. La Madrina, yes indeed. So Dapper is really where it's at, man. I'm glad more people are kind of getting abreast to Dapper. I feel like I'm doing a disservice that I don't bring up Dapper enough in casual conversations or when I'm doing lives and whatnot. I need to talk about that a bit more. But the other side to it is I haven't been smoking them as much because I've been trying to, if I'm sending out boxes to people and if I'm sending out bombs and if I'm sharing cigars, I've been sharing those with other people because I want them to try a Dapper for themselves. Because since I had my time with it, and I didn't realize, like when I was in Fresno and I'm smoking the Dappers, I didn't realize that I was smoking something that was local at the time. I just thought it was like a new brand that was coming out, and I was enjoying it, man. Every time I would go into a new lounge, they were like, "Hey, you got to try this one. You got to try the Cubo. It's one of the best cigars that's out right now. You got to try the La Madrina," and so on and so forth. So I'll be better about that. He said I had a crush on her as Wednesday after the Native American scene in that movie. I feel you. I'm not mad at that at all. Christina Ricci got a lot of people, bro. He said that's Wednesday. No, but I was thinking about the new girl that was playing Wednesday. She played Wednesday on the TV show, Gina Ortega. Ortega. There you go. That's the one that I was thinking about. But I'm glad that you brought up Christina Ricci because she is dope too, and she would definitely fit in that role. What is she doing right now? You don't see Christina Ricci like that no more. Still looks good. But I think from what I've heard about Beetlejuice 2 is that Gina Ortega is going to be in that joint. I'm horrible with names. If y'all haven't noticed that, I'm terrible with names. And so my apologies when I'm talking about these shows, I can see their face. This is the thing. I can see y'all face. I can see you guys in person, and I could probably see you 10 years later and remember your face and know exactly who you are and kind of remember what we talked about and all that kind of stuff and be like, damn, what was your name? I'm just bad like that. Same thing with these cigars. I've smoked La Madrina at least 10 times. Why would I forget the name of that cigar? I just do stuff like that. So y'all gotta bear with me. Hey, well, thank you for chilling with me on the break, yo. You working late. Get that work in. Do your thing. Thanks for joining in with me. Mm. So since we was talking about the movies and stuff, let me just kind of keep that rolling while we at it right here. Cody is up in here. What up, Cody? I got you coming. I got your box coming soon. I was just talking about like I'm sending boxes out next week, so I got you. Yeah, I didn't send yours out, so yeah, yours is coming in this next round that I'm doing. So shouts out to that. I must piss somebody off one day because I'm horrible with names. I know faces. I'm the same way, bro. That's exactly what I was saying. I know I do that to people sometimes too because people could always remember me and they always remember my name and they're like, "Hey, Keelan," what's up? And I'm like, "Hey, you." I'm bad, yo. But that being said, um, did y'all see the trailer for The Crow? Y'all interested in that? Y'all know I'm a diehard Bruce Lee fan. So just the fact that Brandon Lee was Bruce Lee's son, like I had to kind of follow suit and follow his career from Showdown in Tokyo, all that kind of stuff like that. But I was a teenager when The Crow hit. I think I was like 13, 14, something like that when that movie came out, and I fell in love with that movie, man. It hit the teenage angst just the right way. It hit the martial arts, love just the right way, and it hit that gothic vibe just the right way. It was such a good movie, man, and then the fact that the whole lore behind losing Brandon, in the making of that movie and the way they used the cinema tricks to hide his death in there that you never know, like you don't know where he's missing and where he's not. Like they did that movie perfectly. So once again, just the same way I was talking about Wonka and Dune and Beetlejuice, I'm really not a huge fan of people doing reboots and remakes and redoing the nostalgia movies. And I was like, I was out. Everything right now got to be Skarsgård. They got to put one of the Skarsgård brothers or somebody from that family into a movie right now, especially if it has something to do with some kind of angst and grit. But when I saw the trailer, I was like, yo, this might be actually worth the watch. So I don't know if y'all took the time to watch that. Because any of the crows that they did after the original, the City of Angels one was mid. It wasn't horrible, but anything that they did after that, Salvation or whatever that they called it, they were trash. So I was thinking this one was gonna be trash too. But they might have one in their hands right now. Alejandro said the Crow and Lost Boys was vital growing up. What up, homie? And yeah, man, indeed. And so when I do my reviews, when I do my movie reviews, man, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to talk about Lost Boys. That movie was pivotal for me. Just as like, I went down this rabbit hole the other day, just kind of looking into Corey Feldman and all the stuff that happened between Corey Feldman and Corey Haim. That's a real jacked up situation. But if you grew up in the 80s and 90s like I did, man, those dudes were literally a part of your everyday life. And Lost Boys between Kiefer Sutherland and I can't remember the lady that played the mom in the movie, the grandpa. I can't remember what his name is either. Like everything about that movie was outstanding, and I I just saw that message. I saw that. So when it comes to Lost Boys, I got a lot to say about that movie. I'm not gonna go into depths in that, but that is definitely one of that's a movie like you have to be in that time period to make that movie. You have to be in that era to make that movie. They couldn't make a movie that feels like that in the 2010s or the 2020s. You can't you don't have that feeling from the 80s and 90s that was people were outside then, and the different lore, the books we had to read and the comics that we had to read and all the stuff, the cartoons that were going on. You had to have a different type of imagination in order to create something like the Lost Boys and to live in that era. And you couldn't recreate that. Whenever they try to recreate Lost Boys, it's never worth it. And it's the same thing with The Crow. There's a period of time that you have to live in to be able to appreciate and make a movie like that. So no doubt. Did you watch The Burbs? That was one of my favorites. I love The Burbs. I love Tom Hanks. I love Tom Hanks. And again, that's another movie that you had to be around and alive during that time to appreciate the way they melded comedy and horror into that movie. And just Tom Hanks was like he was in his bag. Between that and Big, those probably are my favorite Tom Hanks movies. And you can talk about Castaway, you could talk about Philadelphia when he had like brilliant dramatic roles, but he was in his element when he made that movie. So I feel you on that. And The Outsiders is a movie that I appreciate and I watch, but that's one that I need to go back and watch now as an adult to really like get a feel for how good that movie is. Like I got bits and pieces of that movie in my head, like all these well-known actors that were in that movie at that time, and they were young and up and coming, and they fit each character perfectly. But I didn't appreciate it as well as I should when I originally watched it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't get a chance to appreciate it so that it's in my head the way that the Burbs are and the way that The Crow is, and with so many movies from that era. I got to matter of fact, I might watch that tonight. I'm glad you brought that up. I might watch that tonight. Matter of fact, I might have to put that in my list of stuff that I need to watch again to review. He said I grew up in the mid 2000s when the washed up celebrity labels was peaking, and Corey Haim was the poster child for that in a way. Yeah, man, and it's crazy, and I'm glad you were able to bring that up. Being that you were from a different area, so you didn't really get to see the heyday for Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, and what those two being in the movies together and what they did individually in movies like Stand by Me, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. Like they were spectacular, but the way Hollywood ran through those guys, man, and the stuff that they were dealing with personally, just like being a child actor and everything that happened to those cats. And when you see them at the tail end, and we were in you came up in the reality TV era, and so everything was like putting people's personal problems on Front Street, and that was the whole thing. So they dealing with all the drugs, they dealing with the abuse. I didn't want to say the wrong word to get my joint canceled, but when they were dealing with the abuse and all that kind of stuff, it was crucial. And but when I really dug into it to find out that Corey Haim was basically gaslighting and manipulating Corey Feldman was gaslighting and manipulating Corey Haim to the point that he unalived himself. It's crazy. If you ever get a chance, go on YouTube and check out their personal story. It's nuts. It's bananas to see what happened between them as friends and what happened between them as colleagues in the movie industry. It's bananas. It's really a wild story. It really, like, you could make a movie off of that in itself. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. I fell off. I feel you on that. A lot of the movies I watched as a kid hit different as an adult, no doubt. And that's what the whole thing, when I do 80s remote, that's what the whole thing behind my new channel is gonna be about. Is taking that concept from when I watched movies as a kid, because I was a latchkey kid. I watched everything. Now, it's like we had that full model TV, we had a VCR, and my mom was working all the time. So really, what I did, man, I would make myself my own food. I would cook, and either just me by myself or me and my cousin would just sit back and we would just watch movies, and like we would just burn through movies. We'd do the whole blockbuster Hollywood movie runs and all that. And when I was a kid, I was in a small town, so we had a spot called Flicks Video that was in the neighborhood. So we would just go through and just watch movies. So like that stuff is ingrained in me. And now being a 40-plus-year-old man, got my own kids and living in a completely different era, and I actually been through a whole lot of life. I want to go back and see like how I'm viewing a lot of these movies. So yeah, that's what that whole concept is about. I love Big Trouble in Little China and RoboCop. I was just talking to somebody about Big Trouble in Little China, man, and Kurt Russell. He was, and it's a movie reviewer who was saying like he wasn't really feeling Kurt Russell in that role, and he didn't get into the movie like a lot of people from our era did. And I'm like, man, Kurt Russell killed that movie. Like when the old man threw the bomb, and he used the magic to make the monster go back into the wall, and he was like, he will come out no more. Kurt Russell was like, huh? What'll come out no more? The way he did that scene, man, I die laughing every time I think about it, man. It's just brilliant because it's the perfect amount of martial arts and comedy and everything that we see now. Like when y'all are playing, like especially the younger cats that are watching this, when y'all are playing Mortal Kombat and y'all are looking at Raiden and all that kind of stuff, all of that came from Big Trouble in Little China. That whole concept came from Trouble in Little China, and a lot of people don't know like how influential that movie was, man. And it's Carpenter got busy with that. So I 100% agree. RoboCop 2. RoboCop 2, I was talking about this on the live one time, like that scene when my man fell into the toxic waste and he came up and his body was all messed up. I still never forget that scene. And that opening scene where they lit up my man and to turn him into RoboCop, you got to be a part of that era. You're not really going to get that until you actually appreciate the way they did, practical effects and the way they told stories just to tell stories. It wasn't about making a whole bunch of money in the movie theater. This was really about like we're trying to tell you an entertaining story. Even when you think about it, the whole thing about Big Trouble in Little China is old Jack Burton's telling you a story, and he's telling you, what his adventure was. The same thing was the Goonies. These kids telling the stories. Same thing from Stand By Me. Is somebody telling you a story. The never-ending story. You could go down the line with that. Did you like the movie Hackers from 1995? I love that movie growing up. I've seen Hackers only once. I've seen it once. So that's another one I got to keep in mind that I need to go watch that. I need to watch The Outsiders and I need to watch Hackers again. So yes, I've seen it, but I don't have the same connection you have because I've only seen it that one time. That sounds like it's worth watching, yo. I miss movie stores too, man. Like there was one when I lived in Norfolk, Virginia. There was a movie rental store that was in Ghent, man. And it was really popular, and I think it just closed down like a year or two ago. And it was like one of the last bastions of a place where it was kind of like the movie with Mos Def and Jack Black, Be Calm, Rewind. It was that kind of like real family run store. It was that kind of thing, man. And I miss being able to just go in there and rent movies. And it was funny because like when I think back to it, in like 2010, maybe 2015, somewhere around the era, they put a red box across the street from it. And you can see Redbox and Netflix slowly take that store out. Like I've watched that happen real time. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy, like when you think about it. but you can't really get nostalgic. You know that it's never coming back. But there's a part of me that misses that era for sure. Man, I love being able to just kick back and talk stuff like this with y'all and smoke a cigar, man. It's a beautiful thing. Peter said Tango and Cash love that movie. Once again, Kurt Russell, Stallone. And if you notice, whenever I'm talking about a cigar and a cigar doesn't go right, and then like if it's got a tunnel in it, or if it's the wrapper came off, what do I say? I said it's FUBAR. I got that from Tango and Cash. I learned that when I was a kid, and I never stopped using FUBAR ever since that movie came out. I still use that to this day. That's still one of my favorite terms for using something like, yo, that man, that ain't never gonna work again. It's FUBAR. Tango and Cash. That's funny. I definitely, that's on my list to review. I'm definitely gonna talk about that movie. That's brilliant. Said I wish they kept making the new RoboCop movies. You mean after the new one they did when the guy had the black RoboCop suit? I kind of feel why you feel that way. It's a part of me that agrees, and it's a part of me that disagrees. And the part of me that disagrees is that the movie was well done, but it didn't have the same impact as the original RoboCops. And again, it's one of those movies that I feel like you can't recreate that vibe from the original RoboCop. They would need to come up with something that's similar to RoboCop, that had that same kind of feel, but tell a completely different story. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to recreate RoboCop, trying to recreate Terminator, trying to recreate Predator. It's really hard to do. That being said, when I mention Predator, I think about the movie Prey, which is a reboot of Predator, which was fantastic. So it can be done. It's just in most cases it doesn't really work out the way that you would expect it to work out. Let's see. Let me catch up with y'all. I like that y'all feeling this movie topic, man. This is fun. Y'all better, hey, when I put out that channel, y'all better show up, man. Y'all better be supporting 80s Remote, man. I need y'all because this is fun to me. A cigar and a movie, like this is my lane right here. I love the Last Action Hero. I love the Last Action Hero still making movies. You're saying in the sense that you got like you got Schwarzenegger, you got Stallone, you got the Expendables and all that kind of stuff. You still got those cats that are still making movies. Yeah, I heard it's one blockbuster left. Yo, is that up in is it Seattle? Is that where it is? That one remaining blockbuster? I'm just doing that off the top of my head. I don't know if I'm right or not. It said I remember the last physical CD I bought. It was the Tupac album Better Days. Took the bus after school with a friend and got that joint. I remember that album. I was kind of off Tupac by then. I don't even know what's on the Better Days. I think that's the joint that got Ashanti on it, right? Am I right? But you know what? I can't even tell you the last physical album I bought. It might have been D'Angelo Brown Sugar because I bought that album like 6 times. But I don't know. Damn, that's dope that you got that memory that you remember the last physical album you bought. Because I don't. I buy vinyl right now, so I just got Igor from Tyler the Creator. Because they got a Tower Records up in Tokyo. So I bought some albums when I was out there. I buy albums all the time, but as far as like CDs, I can't tell you the last CD I bought. He said, "Bro, smoke faster than me." Did I smoke this fast? I guess I do. I know I smoke fast. I can't front, especially with a sin compromiso. They usually burn mad slow too, but I do smoke fast. But aha, aha, aha. If I want to keep rolling, I'm gonna keep rolling. I got you. I don't know if I'm gonna go that long though, because I got the kids down there, so I might not go crazy long. Let's see. My man said I like westerns. I started watching the old classics. It's tough to do westerns today. It seems. I've seen a few neo westerns. There's a couple decent ones out there. What was that? Was it 310 to Yuma? I think that's what it was. I'm doing that title right off the top of my head. but that one was solid. And damn, there was another one that was pretty good. But my brother was really into that. My brother's 5 years older than me, so he was always into Clint Eastwood and the spaghetti western. So he used to like tell me about that all the time. I was so focused during that time frame on Bruce Lee that the only thing that I could think and see was um, the Big Boss and Into the Dragon and Way of the Dragon. That's what I watched like all day, every day, and until I really kind of matured into my own thing. And by that time, I wasn't really into the westerns like that. But that is something worth going because once again, that's good storytelling. You know what I'm saying? So the ones that I have watched, I appreciate it. What was the joint that they that was kind of in the '80s that had Lou Diamond Phillips, Emilio Estevez? Uh, it was a whole bunch of cats that was in that movie, man. It wasn't the Outlaws, I don't think, and it wasn't Tombstone. God, what was the name of that movie? Can y'all recall that joint? It's in Oregon. It's in Oregon. I knew it was up in the Northwest. So hey, shouts out to you for correcting me on that. Harder They Fall was a good Western movie. Yeah, that's definitely a classic. And I feel like the atmosphere is right for a really good Western. And I play um, Red Dead Redemption a lot. That's like the game that like when I just want to Young Guns, my man. And when I'm just trying to defrag and I'm just trying to hop on the PlayStation, I usually put in Red Dead Redemption 2, and I feel like if you could tell a story like that and you can actually put that on the big screen, you can make a really good western. I feel like it's the way that that should be done, and it would really be dope if they would do like some black cowboys. I know Michael Jai White has a movie coming that's supposed to be based on that too, but he's gonna do kind of the same thing that he did with Black Dynamite, where it's gonna be somewhat of a comedy, which I appreciate, and which Black Dynamite was absolutely outstanding. It's one of the funniest movies I've seen in many years. But I would rather them do a serious western like that, when you can have somebody like Nate X in it or something like that, or you could something that would be really dope to do a real good western. That could be really lit. Y'all got it right with Young Guns. Young Guns is one that could be up in there. So Tombstone, Young Guns, that would be a good genre. That would be a kind of a dope thing to do if I'm doing reviews. Since I didn't watch a lot of those movies in a state where I could really appreciate the stories from a good western, that would be dope just to go back and to watch some of those and do a whole review series just based on doing westerns. That would be dope. That would be lit. Yo, I heard about Lawman. I heard about Lawman Bass Reeves, and I haven't watched it yet, but I heard that was really good. I heard that was really good. So that's another one I got to keep up in the mental Rolodex that I need to check that out. I heard that was fantastic, and that's up there like with Shogun. That's a movie that's a show that I got to watch. Yellowstone, that's a good one too. My brother was telling me about Yellowstone, and I only watched one episode, and I didn't get a chance to get back to it. You know how it is when you find a series that you want to watch, and you sit down. And, okay, like oh, I'm gonna get into this. You watch that one episode, and you with it, and like okay, I'm with it, and then life just get in the way, and you just don't want to go back. That's what happened with Yellowstone. That's what happened with the Bear. Still like I haven't finished that. Invincible. I'm to sit down and really watch that. Life just kept getting in the way, man. It was, especially with this move. That took me a whole lot of stuff that I was really trying to do. I slowed down on the cigar a little bit. You see, I kind of slowed down some. I remember Gang of Roses had a star-studded cast of gorgeous women. They did part two, but it wasn't good. And that's a good one to bring up too. I didn't see either one of them, but I hate it when you have a great cast like that, and they make a great movie or they make a great series, and then they try to like redo it again because it got critical acclaim or it made a bunch of money and all that kind of stuff. And then once it gets to that point, they got to rush it to a new production and it never lives up to the hype, or they can't get the whole cast back and all that kind of stuff, it really kind of takes away from such a great movie. Say like the spinoffs better. What was the spinoff? It says cigars, film, and art is a phenomenal combo. I will tell you that 1,000 times. That's really my makeup. that's really what I'm all about. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I wish I could stay inside and smoke cigars. I wish I had a room where I could, really stay inside. Because if I could just sit back and paint and smoke a cigar, man, I would be the happiest man in the world. I just found an easel the other day, and so I think I'm gonna set that up out here so I can just sit out here and paint and sit with my cigars, man. I would be a happy cat, yo. That just the thought of that makes me happy. The same thing, man. I wish I could do my channel where I could have a cigar and talk about these reviews and do all that kind of stuff. But the moment I bring this out, the channel gonna get demonetized, and it just defeats the whole purpose. So I won't be able to like really make a living off of doing what I love, So that's kind of whack, man. But that would be great if I could really do the channel, just base it around, smoking cigars and watching movies. I know y'all would come kick it with me for that. I know I could probably get a whole new audience doing that, but it is what it is. Let me tell y'all a quick story, man. I came home. I told y'all I was working with the with the Japanese students, teaching them English. And I came home from work one day, and my daughter, she was really hyped. She had a good day at school, and she came to me out of nowhere. She came running downstairs, and she handed me a piece of paper, and she just handed me a handful of colored pencils. And she handed me the colored pencils, and she was like, "Draw something with just these crayons, and well, just these colors." And I was like, all right, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I sat down at the table. I looked at the colors that I had in hand, and it was like a burnt umber, orange, red, a dark green, a pencil, a regular lead pencil, and two weird blue colors. It was like a slate blue and a dark blue. It's the only colors I had. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? What can I make out of this? So my wife loves peacock feathers. So we had like a peacock's feathers that are sitting downstairs in a vase. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this real quick, do a little quick sketch. So I drew a peacock feather and I put it inside an orange vase, and I used all those colors and I did the shading and just kind of did a quick maybe 10, 15-minute drawing, right? Just kind of threw it out there and it came out pretty nice. It was pretty cool, right? So I'm hiding it from my daughter, and she keep checking in. You done yet? You done yet? I'm hiding it from her. I'm like, yo, you go take a shower. When you come out of the shower, I'll be done. So I handed it to her, and her eyes lit up. She was like, teach me, teach me. And I was like, I am teaching you. So she took it. She ran up to her room. So the next day, I go out. I had another program that I had to do. I go and work for that day. And when I come home from work, she comes downstairs again, and she shows me a picture, and she recreated my drawing. My daughter's 8, and when I tell you the girl is nice, she's nice. I'm so proud of her, man. Like, genuinely proud of this girl, right? Because she took that joint, and I'll put it up. I'm going to put it in the community tab. I'm going to put it side by side of my drawing and her drawing. And she made me so proud, man, because she was able to get the movement of the feather. She was able to use the same color schemes. She was able to get the shadowing. She was able to get the depth. And I signed my name. If y'all saw the artwork that I did the other day, I put my name on that joint. And I got my own little signature when I do my artwork or whatever. And she put her name at the top, and she put her initials up there. And she wrote in cursive. And I just thought it was the flyest thing. Yo, this is the craziest, proud dad moment. You know what I'm saying? I was just super hyped just because my daughter is becoming an artist too, and she's good. And just the fact that I didn't have to tell her like draw like this and to do this and this is what I did. she really just dissected my work, and she learned just from doing that. And now she did like 5 other pictures in the past couple of days, and she's just taking little bits and pieces from what she's seen from my artwork and just kind of putting her own spin on it. I'm a happy camper, bro. I can't tell you like how happy I am about that shit. Anyway, let's get back to these movie comments. He said Yellowstone, 1883, 1926. I think. What was that connected to? Were those the spinoffs uh, for Yellowstone? And it's dope if they're doing it for based on those time frames. So I might have to. Are they doing like Yellowstone period pieces from 1883 and then 1926? Okay, bet. Appreciate you, Cody. And Daniel Garcia said Kevin Costner is coming out with a new Western saga called Horizon. Ooh. When did the trailer drop for that one, Daniel? Kevin Costner is one of those dudes, man, that if he's acting in something and he's directing something, I'm with it. You feel me? Like he's one of those cats that is just like he's so concise, especially when it's like a period piece like that. He's so concise with it, man, and he tells a really good story. So I know that thing's gonna be fleshed out, and I know it's not gonna be just like, some dude walks into a saloon and he's a gunslinger. Nah, this joint gonna have a real story to it, and it's gonna be more than just a heist movie or something like that. It's like that's what I'm trying to see. That's what I'm trying to check out. I'm here for that. So I'm glad you brought that one out. What was that joint called? Horizon? Okay, bet. I'm on that. A couple weeks ago. And that's the sad thing, man. Like I'm on YouTube majority of the day. I usually got my headphones in, and I'm usually like watching movie reviews or I'm watching movie news. I watch like John Campea, Jeremy Johns, um, Chris Stuckman, uh, The Big Thing with Jeremy Harloff. It's a lot of them, man. I watch a lot of like movie news and stuff. Like I've yet to hear about Horizon at all. Like that didn't even come across my airwaves at all. So that's kind of disappointing that it's really not getting the push that it deserves. Because anything that's talking Kevin Costner, I'm with it. Like he's just one of those cats. It's the same thing I was talking about with Michael Keaton. If Michael Keaton is acting in it, I'm watching it. It's gonna be it's gonna be fire, without a doubt. Said I rock with the Ocean series. I love heist movies. I like heist movies too. I like what was the joint that had Most Def and it had a Mini Cooper? Me and my wife bought a Mini Cooper because of that movie, man. We had a tan Mini Cooper back when I lived in Fresno, and that's a good heist movie. The one that Spike Lee did, um, where the dude was living inside the bank, that was dope. That was a really good heist movie. The Ocean's movies were brilliant too. I like Snatch. Snatch is to me, Snatch is a heist movie. I love that movie too. Snatch is phenomenal. So yeah, Italian Job. Italian Job. See, I told you I'm horrible with names. I can remember the whole movie. Names, Fubar. 1883 is about how the Dutton family traveled to the West and the hardships of that. And 1926 is a family struggles on the ranch. See that right there? I'm here for it. I'm gonna have to check those out, Cody. Way to put me on to that. And the Inside Man, that's the joint that I was talking about. And you know what's so crazy? Like it was smart with the title of that movie, and I know it was a double entendre, but that should have given the whole movie away just from the title, and it didn't. And it was Spike Lee can like for whatever you want to think about Spike Lee, man, he really is a brilliant director. He get him on my nerves sometimes when he puts the musicals into his movies sometimes, or when he does that weird camera angle that he does. But everybody got to have their signature. You know what I'm saying? I like this lighting right now. It's kind of dope. But everybody got to have their signature, and I think that's necessary in a movie. But when Spike really want to get down and he want to make a serious movie, Spike like Do the Right Thing is already brilliant within itself. She's got to have it is brilliant. 25th Hour and The inside, man. Spike can get busy. Cody said Martin Lawrence and Blue Streak, pretty good heist movie. It is, man. And I like the movie. I don't want to talk down about the movie, but as much as I love Martin Lawrence, especially during that era, I think he kind of went overboard with the comedy sometimes. Like and like that was just them telling you like, yo, just be Martin Lawrence, just do Martin Lawrence. But when you really like that and Big Mama's House, I know what they were trying to do with those movies, and that's why they have some really great moments in it. So like when they could have made a really good movie without it having to be that much of a comedy. I think if they would have toned the comedy down a little bit and just have a little bit of comedy in there and then just kept it as a regular heist movie, it could have been brilliant. But it's still a good movie. So I don't want to talk like I don't like the movie, but Martin was a little bit over the top. Said I hate musicals, but I love the Blues Brothers. Blues Brothers is a great musical. It is, and that's one of those movies like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory that I don't look at as a musical. Same thing with The Color Purple. They are musicals, but they're not musicals. Not the new Color Purple, but the old original Color Purple. I just watched that again the other night, and goddamn if Whoopi Goldberg wasn't on another level in that movie. Everybody in that movie got down. Oprah got down. Um, what's my girl name? The girl I was in love with this girl from Commando. Um, Ray Don Chong. I was in love with Ray Don Chong. Like my wife kind of looks like Ray Don Chong. I can't front, but I was absolutely in love with that chick. But everything that they did in that movie, like the acting was top notch. It was another movie when you mentioned the Blues Brothers that made me think of something when you mentioned the Blues Brothers, and it slipped my mind when I said that. It was something else I wanted to mention. I can't pinpoint what it is about it, but a movie I can watch time and time again is Get Shorty. That's one I got to go back to, and I don't think it's just you. Get Shorty is considered a classic, and I think it's considered a classic for a reason. But I don't have it in my mental Rolodex well enough that I know everything about it like that. Are you saying Shanae is over the top? Or you think about it, man, like Martin was a great show, but like I love Martin, but he had like all the different characters like Roscoe and Shanae that he was playing and stuff like that, and the rent a cop that he was playing. But it got to the point where everybody that was on Martin started to act like Martin, and they started using his mannerisms. Oh damn, Gina! Like everybody started to act like him, and that's the thing. Like it kind of took me out from watching a lot of Martin stuff because everybody started to act like Martin. That kind of takes me out. Do I like the recent 007 films? I do, man. I do, but I don't. I'm on the fence to be honest with you, because whenever they like Spectre was probably the one that I liked the least. If I really think about it, Spectre was probably the one that I liked the least. But I always get the dude mixed up. Was that Javier Bardem or was it the other dude that looks just like Javier Bardem? I can't tell them cats apart. Like I know him when I see him, but it was the same cat that was in No Country for Old Men, right? When he had the scene when he took out his face and he took out his prosthetic and his whole face like that, like I thought he was a decent villain. But for me, I feel like if you're gonna when you do a Bond movie, you gotta get the villain right. And the last one that they did when they had the guy Remy, I think his name is Remy. The movie was good, but he wasn't a good villain to me. And he's a good actor. I like the movies that he's in. I like when he played Freddie Mercury. But something was off with the villain. And when the villain is not right, it takes me out. A Million Ways to Die. Was that the one? I told you I'm bad with names. I just watched it not too long ago too. But they always find a way to like the villains don't hit the way that they should in the Bond movies. But I would watch those over the Bourne series any day. You feel me? Daniel Craig for whatever reason, I liked him better in the girl with the dragon tattoo than I did with with the 007 movies. For whatever reason, he never felt like Bond to me. Like something about him just didn't fit the role of James Bond. And I hear they're trying to do a reboot again of 007. They're trying to rework that in, and they passed on Idris, and they're trying to find a new actor. But I watch those movies. I like them. I just don't love them. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like I put the Bourne movies, the Mission Impossible movies, and these recent 007 movies. I kind of put them all in the same category. And they're great movies. They're entertaining. They're action packed. They're shot really well. The acting is always superb. It's just something about them is missing to me. And I wish that Daniel Craig stayed with the girl with the dragon tattoo and finished that series out. I wish he would have finished that instead of doing 007. But 007 is going to be a bigger payday every time. It is what it is. So, oh, that's my opinions on that. Sin Compromiso is a good cigar, man. Defiance. Defiance. Who is in that? And what is it about? I feel like I should have seen Defiance. It's nothing better than when you get a good cigar and you get down to the last portion and it's still fire. Like some cigars, when you get down to the end of them, they just fall off. Honestly, like this Paladin Nisaka kind of turns into like the original uh, Sin Compromiso when you get down to this point. It doesn't have as much as that vegetal note as I was looking for, but it's still kind of like I'm glad I did this. I made a good choice. A View to Kill, and that's one of the OG ones, ain't it? That's like a real old school joint, ain't it? My brother, that's the thing that I was talking about earlier. My brother was really into like the westerns, and he was really into 007. So like I have a cursory view of like the original joints. You know what I'm saying? I remember watching them when I lived in Newport News, Virginia, and I remember watching them on TV, and I remember watching them on VHS and all that. But I was never like die hard 007 fan. I played the video game on Super Nintendo, or yeah, on that joint. I played that joint on Nintendo 64. I played that joint a lot more. Roger Moore, yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought that was one of the old school ones. I like those movies and I appreciate them. And I felt like they did a lot better job with the villains and with the supporting cast and those. It's just you still kind of get that 70s, 80s kind of filmmaking with it. So sometimes they don't hold up very well. And you get the long monologues, and you got some real kooky way that 007 got out of the trap or whatever and stuff like that. But they were still good movies. And but I think it's a good time capsule. I think it's a good sign of the times of the way they made those movies. So it's kind of good to go back and see people smoking cigarettes on films and actually having drinks and stuff like that. You get away with a lot more stuff in those movies in a way. So I appreciate it, and again, I think that's one of those things that I need to go back as an adult and really appreciate it with a more mature mindset, and to get back into those movies. Another thing, kind of speaking of, and made me think about that was Planet of the Apes. So my wife and I we went back and we watched Dune. Dune was horrible. That was a tough watch. The original Dune, that was oof. That shit was with Patrick Stewart. That shit don't hold up. But the original Planet of the Apes does. And it made me like I made a post recently about how the new Planet of the Apes trilogy is the best trilogy ever made. And I include Star Wars in that. Like the original the new Planet of the Apes with the started with Caesar and Franco, that is the best trilogy. and I cannot wait for the new Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. That's the movie I'm probably the most hype about watching right now. That's the movie that like I don't care what I'm doing. I'm gonna stop what I'm doing. I'm going to the theater to watch that. Now, the last time I had that was when I went and watched the new Godzilla joint, and I not just that, also the Spider-Man joint. But that's neither here nor there. But Planet of the Apes, the new trilogy is the best trilogy ever made, and I would like that's including Indiana Jones, that's including Star Wars and Back to the Future. Like you can name trilogies, none of them touching Planet of the Apes. B. OG Planet of the Apes f me up all the best ways as a kid. Yeah, man. It like you don't like M Night Shyamalan has been trying to make a movie with a really good twist, and the only one that he succeeded with um, was I See Dead People. That joint, Six Man, Six Sense, not Six Man. That's Marlon Wayans. Six Sense, and the way the original Planet of the Apes did that, like the one that Tim Burton tried to do it and it didn't hit the same. It's not easy to make a twist ending like that that actually have you like mentally like, yo, that's crazy, that's crazy. And the OG Planet of the Apes did that. Facts. Yo, you have to go back and watch the Planet of the Apes. Do what I did. I watched them straight through. I watched the first one, I watched Rise, and I watched Dawn back to back, and then I finished it off with the last joint the next day. Trust me when I tell you, go back and watch them joints, and you're gonna be like, "Yo, I didn't realize how good this was, man. This is absolute fantastic movie making, storytelling. It's the real deal." And I usually don't like CGI. The way they did the CGI in it was perfect. Even when you go back, you can still see that they were kind of developing CGI during Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and it still would knock just about anything out of the water that's done right now. Especially these goofy Marvel movies that's happening right now. Waiting on the new King Kong versus Godzilla joint. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out, man. And just because I love Godzilla, I haven't been like in love with those movies like I wanted to, and they don't live up to Godzilla minus one. But it's still I'm still gonna be in the place to be for that for sure. I said the movie that takes me back to my childhood watching this popping the tape and press play. That's the movie that takes me back. What are you talking about? The Planet of the Apes joint, the one that take you back to your childhood to give you that nostalgia. I can feel that. That's why I like talking to y'all, man. Y'all giving me the motivation to really like sit down and get this joint going. I was just setting up my office the other day to the point where I got my green screen ready. I got my lighting set back up again. I got my microphone set up again. So it's about time to start, pressing play, man. And get the Bond films. Okay, felt, and I get it, man. Like, and to think about it, like that's so good with the Bond films. Like you got so many to choose from. You know what I mean? So I want to ask you, who was your favorite Bond out of all of them? You got Pierce Brosnan. You know, you got Daniel Craig for the newer cats. And you got what's my man name with the Scottish accent? I don't know why I can't. Sean Connery. You got Connery. You got Roger Moore. Yeah, so I see Sean Connery already popping up. The Running Man. Like I watched the Running Man. Uh, shoot, probably a year, maybe a year ago. I watched Last Action Hero, Running Man, Demolition Man. Demolition Man did not hold up very well, and I know that's the loan. But what's the other joint that came out around the same time as Running Man? With the lady, when he had the head. Was that the Running Man? Wasn't the Running Man? What's the other the Stallone joint? Not Stallone, but the other Schwarzenegger joint that came out around the same time as the Running Man. I went back and watched a couple of those. Man, the Running Man probably held up the best out of all of them. And again, that's a movie you can't recreate now. Like they tried to recreate the Running Man, it didn't work because you got to be in that time frame. You got to be in that era to make that kind of movie. Total Recall. That's exactly what I was thinking of. They tried to redo Total Recall. Like it's you can't do that, man, with these movies. You can't recreate. I think the only one that you mentioned, that I think the only one that if they really redid it, I know they did with Aliens. I know they did Prometheus, and it was cool, and they did Aliens versus Predator and all that. And if you talk about Aliens, even when I was talking about, like, some of the greatest trilogies of all time, Alien and Aliens, right there, if they could have landed Aliens 3, that might have been one of the greatest trilogies of all time. That is this is gonna be weird. This is gonna be weird. But hear me out. I still got a crush on Sigourney Weaver to this day. Like, even old Sigourney Weaver. I love Sigourney Weaver, and partially because of Alien and Aliens. But Sigourney is just an actress's or actor's actor. She's phenomenal to me, man, and she has that it factor. She got like a regalness, man, that I just love Sigourney, man, and nobody could have played Ripley like that. And she's one of those characters that will forever be iconic just because of the way she played that role. You know what I'm saying? And when you think of like of horror movies, because the original Alien was a horror, and that's what I loved about it so much. And then Alien 2 was like a horror action movie, but you can't look at Sigourney as a final girl. She's not a final girl. Sigourney is something different, and they've tried to recreate Ripley, and they've tried to make other movies to have a heroine that was as savvy and as strong as her, and nobody has ever lived up to that. Like, she's iconic to me because of that, and just even in Ghostbusters, like, I just like everything that she does. And she's another one of those actors or actresses that, you put her in a movie, I'm watching it. I'm here for it. Like, she's just that dope to me. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about the remake of Twister either, man. Once again, that's one of those movies. You had to be in that era. You had to be under that panic that we were under for, like, living in Tornado Alley, or the fear of twisters and tornadoes, and the development of science that we were in at that time. You can't remake that. Like, it's not gonna feel right. You can't remake Back to the Future. I was gonna say the same thing. Word up. Like, it's certain movies that you have to be in that time frame, and you have to be in that space of mind that we were in, living in that era, because when you're trying to remake it, it's not gonna feel the same. The amount of wonder and the amount of, like, whatever the angst was that people were feeling at that time, or that desire to live, like, to make it to the year 2000. We're here now. We're in the year 2000, and it ain't too much different from what it was then. But it's not that we. You don't have that same feeling of going outside or playing video games the same way. You don't have the arcades. You don't have, the same love that we have for sports at that time. It's not the same. And it's gonna be the same thing when you think about some of these Christopher Nolan movies. What's the Christopher Nolan movie, Inner Space? Like, if they try to make, not Inner Space. Inner Space was the Martin Short movie that I love. But what's the movie? Interstellar. Interstellar. Like, when if they try to make Inception and Interstellar 10 or 20 years down the road, you're not going to be able to recreate that, because the space that we're in this time frame, like the here and now, the way that we're looking at science now, and the way that we're looking at the development of science, and the way that we look at our family values and stuff, you're not going to be able to recreate that movie. That's a moment in time. That's a movie that is a classic for this period. And somewhere down the line, Hollywood is going to try to recreate what, Christopher Nolan was doing, and they're not going to be Christopher Nolan. They're not going to have his mindset. They're not going to have his perspective. He can't even really do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, when he's trying to make Tenet, it don't feel the same as when he was making Memento, as when he was making Interstellar, and when he was making Inception. Like, that era is gone. Smoke break. Let's see. Mean Streets is another I go back to. and the feeling you can't recreate the grimy '70s New York feel. Same thing with Mean Streets, with Beat Street, with Warriors. Like you can't redo that. Like sometimes you got to let these movies just sit where they are and be a time capsule. Sometimes they just got to let because whoever the director was, whoever the writer for that movie, the actors that they got from that time, like you can't recreate the feeling that they had in that, and it's so rare when they actually can make a movie. Like what they were about to do? What's the joint with Patrick Swayze and they got Jake Gyllenhaal trying to redo that movie, Roadhouse. Can't do it. That's like you can't you're not gonna get that same feeling that you had then. Like that's why I'm glad they never touched Ghosts. I'm glad they didn't try to do that because you can't get what Patrick Swayze did. You can't get what Demi Moore did. You can't get what Whoopi Goldberg did. It's like certain movies you're not gonna be able to touch. You just gotta let them stay in that era, and you got to teach your kids to appreciate a movie from that time frame. Just let it be. And even for us, we got to go back and just say like, hey, there's no need to try to make that movie again for the 2000s. We need to, just go back and watch that movie as a classic. I feel you. Got love for Beat Street, no doubt. That's a classic. Um, Marvel able to regain momentum of Infinity Saga, best they'll have. See, this look, I got opinions on that too. Now, I don't think I'm gonna smoke the second cigar. I think I'm gonna roll after I get through with this one here. But when it comes to Marvel right now, my whole opinion on that is that they just need to stop, cut it off where it is now. Especially with that, after all the stuff that happened with Jonathan Majors, like you're not gonna be able to regain the momentum and the energy that you had with with the Infinity Saga. You're not going to be able to get that back. So everything they've tried to do after that is not working. So what they need to do is just totally like don't try to do Secret Wars. Don't try to revamp this whole thing and try to bring this thing back. And don't try to shoehorn in Doctor Doom and all the stuff that they're talking about doing. Just restart it with the X-Men. Get the right cast for the X-Men, and then bring in Fantastic Four, and just like, hey, that era was done. We did everything that we were supposed to do from Iron Man all the way up to wherever we are now. Because Quantum Mania sucked, the Multiverse of Madness sucked, and I went back and watched Spider Man, and I'm not even really loving Spider Man. I love Holland. I love the capability of that movie. I love how it worked out, but the story is really not that good. When you go back and watch Far From Home again, it's like eh, eh. So they need to just kind of stop where they are now, let Spider-Man completely reboot, and let X-Men start the new chapter. That's what everybody was waiting for anyway. That's what we really want to see. We want to see actual X-Men. We want to see Storm not look like Holly Berry. We want to see Storm not look like. Hold on for a sec. Sorry, I was trying to send a message. This thing is in the way. It won't let me send a message. All right. So that being said, that's what we need to get back to. We need to like actually get the right casting for Storm, get the right casting for Wolverine. I hated Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, by the way. I don't know how y'all felt about that. I know people love Hugh Jackman. I thought he was trash as Wolverine. I they I'm kind of interested in seeing what they're gonna do with Deadpool and Wolverine, but I just want them to kind of just move along, just kind of get this out of the way. So they bringing back X Men, see what they do with that. Yeah, I'm that's kind of what I was saying, Ty. We're gonna see how that works out, man. I'm scared to be honest with you, but because I think they're trying to continue this whole saga and they need to just shut it down. Shang-Chi didn't work out. Uh, losing Chad with Boseman, and then they didn't, redo the casting on that. That didn't work out. So like they kind of killed the momentum of this. So they need to stop and just start X-Men from scratch. The same way that DC is doing with this new Superman Legacy and Batman Brave and the Bold. That's what they need to do. So let me get this last one in, man, before I get up out of here. Let me see what Ben is saying. Before you go, anything you hope with PCA next week? Honestly, man, that's a good question, and that's a good way to end this off. Um, I follow Steve Saka on Facebook, and he's putting out some really cool stuff. The main thing right now is just like when it comes to PCA, since I can't get there and I can't like actually kick it with everybody. Um, I'm just kind of hoping that like they're really gonna release some really good cigars. I know a lot of people are kind of keeping stuff close to the vest. I know John Huber is releasing some really cool stuff, but he and Saka are the only people that I know of that got some cool stuff coming. I know Sanj got some cool stuff coming too. So I'm just kind of waiting to see like when my Instagram goes off and all the stuff just starts releasing, just to see what the new cigars are gonna be. And then I know Cigar Hound Dog and Massey Ash are gonna be there. So I'm gonna be there like by proxy through them. So when they come back and like, hey, we smoked this cigar, we got that cigar. I'm just kind of waiting for that and just to see what is gonna release and what's gonna come out from in that angle. But as far as Jerome, what up, homie? But as far as just me, just kind of like I'm not weighted with bated breath right now. I'm just kind of keeping my eye out and just kind of hope that they're releasing something that's cool. This is that season when like a lot of the cool cigars are gonna come out. Sal said HBC has some new things coming. Okay, I'm interested in that. I was just recently talking with the fellas about HBC because I felt like the brand had kind of stagnated a little bit. So I'm kind of hyped to see if they do something that's really cool. Dude, man, Jerome, if I wasn't about to get off right now, man, I would join you on, man. So we gonna have to schedule a joint when you and I could just kind of chop it up. We'll do it live together. So I got you. We'll two-way this joint the next time around. I gotta roll though, unfortunately. So let me kind of end it right there. No, hold up. I think I got another question. What do you think about the S84 shade to black? S84. S84. What is this? I don't know it. I don't know it off the top. Daniel said, "Love hanging out with you. It's 4 a.m. in San Antonio, Texas. Till the next episode. Yeah, we're gonna chill till the next episode, man. Thanks for kicking with me till 4 in the morning, man. That's love. That's mad love. Oh, the freestyle, like people have been talking about that, man. I've been talking about that cigar. It's come up it came up on the last live. It came up during the live that I did with the New Wave fellas, but I haven't smoked it, so I don't really know. So if it comes across, I'm gonna get into it. I think the last thing that I said about it was that um, that if I wasn't seeking it out, but if it ever came across my way, I'm gonna smoke it and I'll talk about it from there. So we're gonna see what happens. I got some bombs coming in, so maybe somebody will drop it on me. But I didn't go out of my way to try to get that cigar personally. And let's see, shade version of the MA. Oh, okay, I did see that. I did see that. I did see that they were releasing the shade Metallica. Look, man, I'm gonna try it, and I think it's smart because there was a lot of us that didn't really do well with that, Maduro. So it's kind of smart to do the counter production on that, to do a shade, but hopefully it's not a bland shade. We're gonna see what happens. So that was great. That's a great question, and I did see that. But all right, so I gotta go get these young people ready to go. Thank y'all for hanging out, especially y'all that's hanging out at like 4 in the morning. Y'all are the dopest, man. Y'all always make this fun. This to me, this is one of the best lives that I've done in a while. I just have fun, just kicking it and smoking the Sin Compromiso, chopping it up with y'all. It's a shade over double. All right, that's creative. It's a creative idea. So we're gonna see how that goes. Maybe it'll balance out, what that M81 was. So we're gonna see what happens. Y'all be cool. Thank y'all for kicking it with me. Until the next one, I might pop up again soon. You never know. All right, Jerome. Yo, hit me up in the inbox, man, so we can talk about getting another live going. Y'all be cool.